Hello and welcome to the 5-Minute Sound Designer, where I'll show you a cool new sound design technique or just thing in general in about 5 minutes. So in this video, I want to cover one of my favorite things in the whole world, and that's reverb. And to start off, there are two major types of reverb plugins. There's algorithmic, as you can see here, I have that written down, and convolution. So we'll start with algorithmic. Algorithmic reverb is probably what most of you are used to. It's a reverb that looks something like this. This is in Logic Pro, and this is just the platinum verb that's included with it. Essentially, it just uses math and clever programming to simulate a space. So all it is it's taking the signal that's going through it, mathing it up a whole bunch, and then simulating as if it's in a certain space, and you can control how big that room is, how long it takes for the sound to hit the wall, etc., etc., etc. There's a whole bunch of options you can choose. Algorithmic reverb is super common, doesn't use a lot of CPU power, and is very, very handy. So I have the same sound effect on each of these 4 tracks to kind of demonstrate the difference between algorithmic, our first type, and convolution, our second type. So here's just the sound without any reverb on it whatsoever. So a cool kind of impact-y sound. So now with the reverb on it, sounds like it's in some sort of cave or warehouse or something like that. So we can put things into a space very easily and control all the parameters. Very simple, most of you are used to this. Now, convolution is where things get kind of neat and really, really cool. So the one I'm using here is the one included with Logic. It's called Space Designer. And essentially what convolution allows us to do is to put the sound in a space by recording the space itself, inserting it into the center section here, and having the original signal multiplied by the sound of the space. So if we have the sound of a warehouse, we can record the sound of a warehouse, and there are special techniques to do that. Then we can insert it into our convolution reverb here and have our impact sound kind of be multiplied by the raw sound of the warehouse, and thus it sounds more like it's in the warehouse itself. This is very popular, it's extremely common, a lot of people use it for everything from sound design to music. It's a really cool technique. But for sound design purposes, we actually don't need to put in the sound of a space at all. We can put in any sound file whatsoever for our original sound to kind of be reverberated with. So to show you a cool example, I have this kind of weird buzzy thing in here. It's called Quick Wheeze, it's a default. And if I play, you'll hear that it doesn't sound like the first example at all. So you still get a little bit of the original sound, and that's because I have this dry fader turned on. But we also get that cool kind of buzz underneath it because the sound that we inserted is that cool buzzing sound. So they both multiply together and create something unique in the end. So my favorite 2 reverbs in the whole world are EOS by Audio Damage, and this is an algorithmic one. And the reason I like it so much is, one, it sounds kind of dark and cool, which has been very useful for my work on Hyperlight Drifter. And another reason is that it has this handy infinite setting. So we can turn something on and tell it to reverberate forever, which is really fun. We can get some really unique things out of it. I'm not going to do that for this video because we'll be here for a while. But to kind of show you the difference on what that sounds like, I'll play the same sound effect, but through a different algorithmic reverb. So we get a lot of dark sort of whooshing in the background, and that's, again, the reason I like this one so much. It just sounds delightful and very, very, very cool, and I love it for darker sounds. I don't want something super bright, too shimmery, too pleasant in a way, but this sounds very, very cool. So I love EOS by Audio Damage, and again, this is an algorithmic one so that it doesn't use very much CPU power, but we get tons of control, especially that infinite setting. That thing's just cool. And the next one is a industry standard. Everyone's heard of it, Altiverb. So Altiverb is the de facto super amazing convolution reverb plugin. It comes with a ton of different spaces that you can put your music, sound, whatever in. But it also comes with some fun things like this air organ. I don't really know what that is, but it sounds really freaking cool. So we can basically take that sound we have, put it into an actual recorded space, and we get a cool result like this. So it doesn't sound anything like the original stuff that we had before. And that's all through just reverb. So they recorded the sound of these jars or something, whatever those are. And then we're multiplying the signal of our original sound with the sound of those jar things, this air organ, and we get a really cool, unique effect in the end. Now, both have their uses. I like Convolution Reverb because you can get really cool spaces like that and get some really neat effects. But I like Algorithmic because you can have a lot of control over the sound in the end. So it makes a big difference which one you use. And I'm a big fan of both. This is just kind of a primer for you guys to know that there are multiple options out there and that it can really help you a ton in sound design to be able to just use reverbs really, really well. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you liked it, please sign up for my newsletter and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I send out weekly tips on how to get gigs in the game industry, get work, and also fun sound design things like this. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll talk to you next time.